I'm Rebecca. I'm the UK Social Mission Manager for Ben & Jerry's, but I've been a member of the ECF for a really long time, and I've worked in the NGO sector for a long time as well, so I am one of you, I promise you. Ben & Jerry's is an ice cream company. Was set up by these two troublemakers in Vermont in the late 70s. And our current CEO, a lovely man by the name of Jostein, likes to say that we're an activist organisation. We are an activist organisation that happens to make ice cream. This may be slightly aspirational, but it's still something that we work towards at the moment. And what does that mean? So in our history, we've campaigned on all sorts of things. We've campaigned on climate change, we've campaigned on marriage equality, we've campaigned for peace and peace spending in the States, in Russia, in all sorts of places. We even did a little bit of work with Occupy, and that picture in the middle is a bunch of cows at the EU. And although that picture is in every slide show I ever give, I couldn't tell you what that campaign is about, so don't ask me. But in 2015, we looked around and we said, okay, well, we have all of our internal programs and practices that we use to try and make the world a better place, do business differently, our internal carbon tax, our care and dairy program, our fair trade work, and I can talk to you all about that in the bar later if you're interested. But if we're truly being an activist organisation, what are the issues that we should really be standing up and shouting out about? And in 2015, the answer in Europe anyway was fairly clear. It was the refugee crisis. It was definitely going to be the defining issue of our generation. And I think we wouldn't have been able to live with ourselves if we had just stayed silent on the matter. And so we paired up with the International Rescue Committee, a fantastic organisation, to come up with the Together for Refugees campaign. And what this campaign was trying to do was we were trying to get a piece of legislation passed in the European Union around refugee resettlement, trying to create a framework that would see hundreds of thousands more refugees resettled into safety in Europe, coming to our countries via safe and legal routes. And both organisations, the IRC and Ben & Jerry's across Europe, really threw everything we had at it. We made a lovely video. We went out and did loads of events. We did some what I like to call diffused campaigning, which now I'm saying it out loud, I'm not sure is a real thing. But we made these movie nights that we could send out to groups so they could do their own campaigning events. We did what we call digital storytelling. Blogs. And we had a whole load of PR and media activities. We went on tour, we got celebrities involved from the IRC side, and we even made our own ice cream. It's called Home Sweet Honeycomb. It's delicious. And all of this was trying to get our fans and get the IRC supporters to take this online action. The action itself changed over the course of their campaign, depending on what phase we were in, depending on who we needed to influence. But the idea was they'd take this action and all of it would go towards getting this piece of legislation passed. And it was a difficult campaign, as a lot of coalition campaigns are, but there are some real highlights that I wanted to draw out for you today. So one of the real highlights about working in partnership, especially if you work with somebody who's very, very different to you, is that you get to talk to different audiences. This is, I think, more true when it comes to business NGO partnerships, but can equally be true between charities. So especially on social media, we have completely different demographics that we talk to, and we were able to get our campaign message out further together than we would have done alone. We also got out there, we hit the road, we took our ice cream out and about, we got to talk to our fans and people that had maybe never heard of Ben & Jerry's, never had Ben & Jerry's, out and about across the UK, and talk to them about the campaign face to face. Get them to take the action, sure, but really get to hear, okay, what are they thinking about this crisis at the moment? How are they feeling? What kinds of conversations work with them on the ground that we could maybe share that learning for and translate into digital publishing later on? Another highlight is that we made a lot of new friends. I worked for Refugee Action immediately before I moved to Ben & Jerry's, but so I knew some of the sector, but actually through the IRC, we managed to get out and meet a whole lot of other people in the refugee and asylum sector in the UK and in other countries. And we invited them in at crucial moments. We invited them to planning meetings, we invited them to our launch event, we shared our ice cream with them, and we really said to them, you know, with this kind of the aim of being humble and saying, look, we're the ice cream guys, we're not the experts on this, you guys are the experts on this. So if this is jarring with you at all, if there's something that we're doing that may be furthering our campaign but setting your movement back, then tell us and we'll try and work it out. And so we kind of managed to bring a whole load of people along with us, which was great. And we used our creativity to generate press coverage. So we had some nice puns. We ran this thing called the Homecoming Tour, where we went to places that had home-like names. So we went to Bedford Square, okay, and like Curtin Road and exciting places like that. But it wasn't just the creativity that got us in the press, it was the fact that we were working with, in an unusual partnership. And also, I think the fact that we made it was a national campaign, but we made it locally relevant. So when we went to Cardiff, we'd say, okay, so Cardiff, it's really great to be here in Cardiff today because you guys are taking the most number of resettled refugees out of the whole of England and Wales. I just made that bit up, don't tweet that bit. But there were things like that we made relevant. All of this was much easier because we had free ice cream to give away, and you can get people to do a lot of stuff when you give them free ice cream, it turns out. So what if you don't have any free ice cream? Please don't all ask me for free ice cream, I don't have enough for all of you. One of the things that you might want to think about is, in a partnership campaign, can you bring anybody in that can give you access to different areas of media? So for us, we get written about by lifestyle bloggers, by foodies, by the Metro, in their kind of food sections. The IRC were really excited to get into those spaces. And equally for us, we managed to get into some places like Third Sector and places that we would never normally get coverage of any campaigns for. There's a cow going to Downing Street, why not? We also managed to get into some unusual meetings. So because of our links with the IRC, Ben & Jerry's and Unilever went to the UNGA and spoke about the campaign there. And the IRC have now come in to help us set up a business action network, and they're talking, across Europe, they're talking to other businesses about what they can do to support refugees in their countries. This maybe is slightly controversial, but with our comms, can we loosen up a little bit and create a smile before we create a sucker punch? I've said that wrong. It's sucker punch, isn't it? Sucker? Doesn't matter, I'm out of time. And linked to that, can we be more generous in our collaborations? Can we let go of some of our brand identity to really try and further the cause? Okay, right now I'm done. Thank you very much. Goodbye.